The finger stops 2 inches from her face. Yellow fabric shifts as the little girl crosses her arms. She doesn't blink, doesn't step back, just stands there in her floral dress, while 2 grown men in navy uniforms lean over her like wolves cornering something small. "Where's your parent?" The stocky officer's voice cuts through the bar noise. His badge reads Hargrove. Red face, thick neck, the kind of man who's been angry since breakfast. Zari Beaumont, 8 years old, looks up. Her 2 puff buns catch the overhead lights. She opens her mouth to answer, but the other officer, Linton, tall and sharp-jawed, jabs his finger closer. "You hear him talking to you?" Behind her, a man in a navy blue suit takes 1 step forward. Cairo Beaumont doesn't raise his voice, doesn't touch anyone, just moves into the space between threat and his daughter. "She's with me." Have you ever watched someone get ignored while standing right there? That's what happens next. Hargrove doesn't even glance at Cairo, just keeps his eyes locked on Zari, like she's committed some crime by existing. "This is a bar. You can't be in here. Get out." The room shifts. Conversations pause mid-sentence. Pool balls stop rolling. Someone at the corner table lifts their phone. Then another. Then 5 more. Within seconds, a dozen cameras point at the scene. "Hi, viewers. Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is." Zari's voice comes out steady, calm, the way her father taught her. "I'm not doing anything wrong." The temperature drops. You can feel it, the way air pressure changes before a storm. Hargrove's face darkens. He leans down further, invading the space a child should never have invaded. "You talking back to an officer now?" Cairo's hands tighten at his sides, not into fists, into something more controlled, more dangerous. He's counting something in his head. Maybe seconds, maybe breaths, maybe the number of people recording. "Officers." His voice stays level, professional, the kind of calm that makes smart people nervous. "You're escalating a situation involving a child. We'll be leaving shortly. There's no need." "Shut it." Linton snaps his head toward Cairo now, finally acknowledging him, finally seeing the tall man in the expensive suit who's been standing there the whole time. "We asked her a question." Someone in the crowd whispers. Low, shocked. "Man, they really going after a kid?" Zari's bottom lip trembles. Not from fear, from something worse. From the kind of hurt that comes when the world shows you its ugly face before you're ready to see it. Her small hands grip her own arms tighter. The yellow daisies on her dress seem to dim under the bar's fluorescent lights. Cairo watches. He's good at watching, at seeing everything while appearing to do nothing. He notices the bartender reaching for the phone, notices the manager emerging from the back office, notices the way Hargrove's hand keeps drifting toward his belt, toward the tools men like him use when words stop working. The crowd grows. 15 people now, then 20, all recording, all witnessing, all participating in whatever this moment is becoming. A woman steps forward from behind the bar. Marla Rowan, owner, mid-50s, tired eyes. She's not cruel, not hateful, just afraid of the kind of men who wear badges and lose their tempers in her establishment. She looks at Cairo, then at Zari, then at the officers. Her mouth opens, closes, opens again. Maybe her voice barely carries. "Maybe it's best if you two just leave." The words land like stones. Not because they're loud, because everyone knows what they mean. They mean your rights don't matter as much as their anger. They mean I'm choosing safety over justice. They mean please don't make this my problem. Zari turns, looks up at her father. Her eyes ask the question her mouth won't form. Why? Cairo sees it, feels it. That question might be the heaviest thing he's ever had to carry. Heavier than his wife's casket. Heavier than every case file he's ever reviewed. Heavier than the badge hidden in his jacket pocket. The one that could end this right now if he wanted to flex. But he doesn't. He just takes his daughter's hand. "We'll step outside," he says. Hargrove smirks. Linton adjusts his belt. They've won, or so they think. The crowd watches the father and daughter walk toward the exit. Watches the little girl in the yellow dress leave the building she had every right to enter. The door closes behind them. Inside, the officers laugh. Loud, proud. The kind of laugh that comes easy when you've just reminded someone of their place. Outside, Cairo guides Zuri to a wooden bench near the parking lot. She sits, swings her feet. The evening air smells like fried food and car exhaust. Somewhere in the distance, an engine starts. He kneels in front of her, touches her chin gently, lifts her face until their eyes meet. "You know who you are, sunshine?" She nods. "You know you didn't do anything wrong?" Another nod. Slower this time. "Good." He straightens, pulls out his phone, dials one number. Just one. The call connects. Cairo says 3 words. "Red Harbor." Now. Then he sits beside his daughter and waits. But here's the thing about waiting. Sometimes it's not about patience. Sometimes it's about countdown. What do you think happens when those black SUVs pull up in exactly 15 minutes? 12 minutes from now, this parking lot will look like a federal crime scene. But right now, it's just a father and daughter sitting on a bench while injustice celebrates inside. Cairo doesn't check his phone, doesn't pace, doesn't curse under his breath the way most men would. He just sits with his arm around Zari's shoulders, her head resting against his ribs. Her puffed buns press into the fabric of his suit jacket. She's not crying. Cairo raised her better than tears. Raised her to understand that some people will try to break you just to see if they can. Raised her to stand firm even when the ground shifts. But he also sees the way her fingers keep smoothing the yellow fabric of her dress. The way she's already trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. The way 8-year-old brains work overtime to figure out what they did wrong when the answer is nothing. Inside Red Harbor Bar, the officers are still riding high. Still telling the story to anyone who will listen. Still adding details that didn't happen. Still building the legend of how they handled the situation. The bartender wipes down glasses. The pool games resume. Marla Rowan returns to her office and closes the door because facing what just happened requires courage she doesn't have tonight. The crowd with the phones? Most of them are already uploading, already typing captions, already turning a moment into content. Some add fire emojis, some add prayer hands, some just share it raw with 3 words. "This is America." The video spread. 50 views, 200, 1,000. But none of that matters yet. What matters is the call Cairo made. What matters is the phone that's ringing in a downtown office building 37 miles away. The phone that's connected to a desk that sits in a room with a seal on the wall. A federal seal. The kind that makes local police departments nervous. A woman answers. Charlize Vaughn, Deputy Chief of Operations. She listens to Cairo's voice on the recording. He didn't speak to her directly, just left coordinates and a timestamp on the emergency line. She makes 3 calls. First to a tactical coordinator, then to a civil rights field supervisor, then to someone whose title doesn't appear on any public roster, but whose authority supersedes every badge in a 50-mile radius. 8 minutes from now, 4 black SUVs will leave that downtown building. 7 minutes from now, they'll merge onto the highway. 4 minutes from now, they'll exit toward Oak Ridge Hollow. But right now, Cairo just holds his daughter. "Daddy." "Yes, sunshine." Why do people act like that? The question every black parent dreads. The question that requires an answer that's both true and gentle. The question that forces you to explain hatred to someone who's never felt it in their own heart. Because they're scared, Cairo says finally. Zari looks up. Scared of what? Of people who don't need to be loud to be strong. She thinks about that. Her legs stop swinging. Like us. Exactly like us. A car pulls into the lot. Not the convoy. Just a family. 2 parents, 3 kids. They walk past Cairo and Zari on their way inside. The mother glances over, starts to smile, then sees Zari's face. The face of a child who's just been taught a lesson she shouldn't have to learn. And the smile dies. She knows. Somehow she knows. She ushers her kids inside faster. Cairo watches. Doesn't judge. Just watches. Because fear makes cowards of good people. Because proximity to injustice makes everyone complicit unless they choose otherwise. His phone buzzes. A text. 2 words. 3 minutes. He doesn't show Zari. Just tucks the phone away and pulls her closer. You remember what I told you about storms? That they're loud, but they don't last. That's right. And you remember what comes after storms. Sunshine. He kisses the top of her head, right between the puff buns. Inside the bar, Officer Hargrove orders another beer. Linton leans against the wall, scrolling his own phone, probably looking at the videos people are posting. Probably feeling proud. Probably thinking this is just another Tuesday. They have no idea. No idea that the man they dismissed is the same man who reviews their personnel files. No idea that the quiet father in the Navy suit is the one person in this entire state who can end their careers with a signature. No idea that their jurisdiction is already under federal review for excessive force complaints. No idea that the storm isn't over. It hasn't even started. A low rumble sounds in the distance. Engine noise. Multiple engines. Cairo feels Zari tense against him. Daddy, it's okay, baby. It's okay. The rumble grows louder. Closer. And everything is about to change. But before we see what happens next, you need to understand how we got here. 2 years before this bench, before this bar, before this moment, Cairo Beaumont buried his wife on a Thursday. Amira, age 31, rare blood disorder, 6 weeks from diagnosis to funeral. The kind of fast that doesn't let you prepare. The kind of fast that just takes until there's nothing left to take except the man standing at the grave with a 6-year-old holding his hand. Zari wore a white dress that day. Amira had picked it out months earlier for some wedding they planned to attend. Now it served a different purpose. Now it caught the sunlight while Cairo tried to explain to his daughter why Mommy wasn't coming home. She's with God now, people said. She's in a better place, others offered. Time heals all wounds, someone whispered. Cairo nodded through all of it. Accepted casseroles. Accepted condolences. Accepted the way grief makes everyone uncomfortable, so they fill the silence with cliches that mean nothing and help less. But when the last guest left and the house went quiet, he sat on the floor of Zari's room and made a promise. The world will never take anything from us again, he whispered into her sleeping form. Not peace, not dignity, not safety. I promise. He meant it. Spent the next 2 years meaning it. Got up every morning at 5:30. Made breakfast, braided hair, learned from YouTube videos and patient trial and error, packed lunches, checked homework, attended parent-teacher conferences, coached Zari through nightmares, held her when she cried for her mother, taught her to be strong when strength was all they had left. But he also taught her softness, taught her that kindness isn't weakness, that speaking clearly doesn't mean speaking loud, that standing tall doesn't require putting others down. He raised her in a world that would try to shrink her, so he built her foundation strong enough to withstand the pressure. Daddy, why do people stare at us sometimes? She asked once, maybe 7 years old, after a trip to the grocery store where a woman had clutched her purse tighter when they walked past. Cairo knelt down to her level. Eye to eye, heart to heart, because they don't know us yet. And people fear what they don't know. But we're not scary. No, sunshine. We're not. Then why? Because the world has taught them to be afraid. And it's not your job to fix that. It's just your job to be you. Bright, kind, strong. Let them figure out the rest. She hugged him. Tight. The way kids hug when they're trying to understand something too big for their age. And Cairo held her. Tight. The way fathers hold when they wish they could protect their children from everything but know they can't. His job helped. Sort of. He worked for the Federal Oversight and Civil Rights Bureau. Started as a field investigator. Moved up to senior case manager. Eventually landed as deputy director. The man responsible for reviewing police misconduct complaints across multiple states. He'd seen everything. Every type of abuse. Every excuse. Every cover-up. Every system designed to protect officers instead of citizens. Every report that got buried. Every victim who gave up because fighting back felt impossible. But he never gave up. Processed cases with surgical precision. Built files that couldn't be dismissed. Held departments accountable when no one else would. Earned respect from colleagues. Earned fear from corrupt cops. Earned a reputation as the man who didn't blink. The quiet man who won in silence. Zari knew some of this. Knew Daddy worked to help people. Knew he carried a badge but didn't wear a uniform. Knew he talked about fairness a lot. About justice. About doing the right thing even when it's hard. She didn't know he was powerful. She just knew he was hers. And that was enough. Until it wasn't. Until they moved to Oak Ridge Hollow for a fresh start and discovered that some towns don't want fresh starts. Some towns want everything to stay exactly the way it's always been. They arrived on a Saturday, and by Sunday, people were already watching. The moving truck pulls up to a 2-story house with blue shutters and a porch that wraps around the front. Cairo steps out first. Navy polo. Jeans. Moving day casual. Zari bounces out behind him, already running toward the front door, her sneakers slapping against the walkway. "Daddy, can I pick my room?" "Top of the stairs, left side. Already set up your bed." She squeals and disappears inside. The neighborhood is exactly what the realtor promised. Tree-lined streets, trimmed lawns, American flags hanging from porches, kids riding bikes. The kind of place that looks like a postcard. The kind of place that measures newcomers carefully. Cairo waves at the couple across the street. Mid-50s, white. The man waves back, small, polite. The woman smiles but doesn't move from her garden. They exchange a look. The kind couples share when they're having a conversation without words. Next door, an older black woman waters her flowers. She nods at Cairo. Just a nod. No smile. No wave. Just acknowledgement that she sees him and understands something he'll figure out soon enough. By noon, 3 neighbors have stopped by. First is Todd Brennan, 40s, firm handshake, works in insurance, talks about property values and neighborhood watch meetings, welcomes Cairo with the kind of enthusiasm that feels rehearsed. Great to have new families moving in. Really diversifies the area. Cairo smiles, doesn't comment on the word choice. Second is Patricia Huang, 30s, lawyer, brings cookies, asks about schools, mentions her kids are in private academy, but the public elementary is fine for some families. Cairo thanks her for the cookies. Third is the older woman from next door. Introduces herself as Ms. Lorraine Webb, 68, retired teacher. Doesn't bring anything. Doesn't small talk. Just looks Cairo in the eye and says what needs saying. This is a good neighborhood if you don't make waves. But it's only good for people who look like us if we stay quiet. You planning to stay quiet? Cairo considers the question. I'm planning to raise my daughter. Ms. Lorraine studies him. Sees something in his face. Something in the way he stands. Something that tells her this man doesn't bend easy. Hum. She turns to leave. Pauses at the property line. Your daughter. She got spirit. More than most. Then you're going to have trouble here. Not might. Will. She walks away before Cairo can respond. That night, he tucks Zari into her new room. Yellow walls. White furniture. Stuffed animals arranged on shelves. She's already made it hers. I like it here, Daddy. Yeah. It's quiet. Peaceful. Cairo kisses her forehead. Get some sleep, sunshine. But sleep doesn't come easy for him. He stands at the living room window, looking out at the street. At the houses with their lights on. At the families inside living their lives. He sees a police cruiser roll past. Slow. Deliberate. The officer inside looks at Cairo's house. Looks long enough to make a point. Cairo doesn't move. Just watches back. The cruiser rolls on. By the end of week 1, Zari has started school. Made 2 friends. Joined the art club. Comes home every day with drawings and stories, and the kind of joy that makes Cairo believe maybe Ms. Lorraine was wrong. Maybe this place is different. Maybe they can build something here. By the end of week 2, a teacher pulls Zari aside and tells her she's too loud during class discussions. Tells her to raise her hand and wait her turn. Even though Zari always raises her hand. Always waits her turn. Always follows the rules. She comes home confused. Cairo emails the teacher. Polite. Professional. The teacher responds that she's just trying to help Zari adjust to classroom expectations. He doesn't push. Not yet. By the end of week 3, someone leaves a note on their car. Nothing threatening. Just 2 words. Watch yourself. Cairo crumples it. Throws it away. Doesn't mention it to Zari. By the end of week 4, Ms. Lorraine brings over pound cake and says what she came to say. You seeing it yet? Cairo nods. And you still planning to stay quiet? He looks at her. Really looks at her. This woman who's lived here for 30 years. Who survived by knowing when to speak and when to swallow. I'm planning to protect my daughter. Those 2 things aren't the same in a place like this. She leaves the pound cake and goes home. That Saturday, Cairo decides they need a treat, decides they deserve a normal family outing, decides that hiding won't teach Zari how to live. So he takes her to Red Harbor Bar and Grill, the place everyone talks about, the place with the best wings in town, the place that welcomes families until 8 p.m. They walk in together, hand in hand, and Cairo doesn't see the eyes that follow them, doesn't see the way conversations pause, doesn't see the bartender reach for the phone. He just sees his daughter smiling up at the menu board, trying to decide between lemonade and fruit punch. And he thinks, for just a moment, that maybe everything will be okay. Then the door opens and two officers walk in. The smell hits first. Fried chicken, beer, wood polish. That particular mix of grease and alcohol that defines every small-town bar trying to be a family restaurant. Red Harbor sits at the corner of Main and 5th. Brique Exterior. Neon sign buzzing in the window. Inside, it's bigger than it looks from outside. Long bar running the left wall, pool tables in the back, stage area for weekend bands, tables scattered throughout. Big screen TV showing a basketball game. Speakers playing classic rock low enough to talk over. It's 5:30 p.m., early enough that kids are still allowed, late enough that the after-work crowd is starting to filter in. Cairo and Zari stand near the entrance, waiting for someone to seat them. Zari's eyes go wide at the decorations. Vintage beer signs, license plates from every state, a mounted fish that's probably fake, but impressive anyway. Daddy, look at the fish. I see it, sunshine. A hostess approaches. Early 20s. Namatak Ritz Britney. She smiles at Cairo, then at Zari, then back at Cairo with a flicker of something. Hesitation? Uncertainty? Just two. Yes, please. Can we sit near the window? Brittany glances back at the manager's office. The door is closed. Sure. Follow me. They weave through tables. Zari walks carefully, hands folded behind her back the way she does when she's trying to be grown up. Her yellow dress swishes with each step. People glance over. Some smile. Some don't. Some just stare with the kind of blank expression that refuses to commit to friendliness or hostility. The window booth is clean. Red vinyl seats. Laminated menus already on the table. Your server will be right with you. Brittany sets down 2 plastic cups of water and leaves quickly. Zari scoots into the booth, kneeling on the seat so she can see out the window. Cairo slides in across from her, watching her take in a street view, the passing cars, the whole normal world that should be hers without question. Can I get the popcorn chicken? You can get whatever you want. She grins, opens the menu even though she's already decided. At the bar, a man in a flannel shirt glances over, looks at Cairo, looks at Zari, turns back to his beer. 2 stools down, a woman with platinum blonde hair does the same thing. Then the couple at the corner table. Then the group playing pool. One by one, they notice. One by one, they file the information away. A server appears. Older woman. Name tag, reads Donna. She's been doing this for 20 years. You can tell by the way she moves. Efficient, unbothered, focused on getting orders and getting tips. What can I get you folks? Cairo orders sweet tea and wings. Zari gets lemonade and popcorn chicken. Donna writes it down without commentary, without judgment, without the weird energy everyone else seems to be throwing their way. Be about 15 minutes. No problem. Thank you. Donna walks away, and Cairo relaxes slightly. Maybe this will be fine. Maybe he's being paranoid. Maybe all the stares are just small-town curiosity and nothing more. Zari colors on the kids' menu with the crayons Donna left. She's drawing a house. Their house, with a big sun over it and flowers in the front yard. She hums while she colors, some song from school probably, some tune that's been stuck in her head all week. Cairo watches her, memorizes this moment. His daughter, safe, happy, unaware of the weight the world wants to put on her small shoulders. The front door opens. 2 officers walk in. Navy uniforms, badges catching the light, utility belts heavy with equipment. They don't walk like men getting food after shift. They walk like men responding to a call. Hargrove spots them immediately. His eyes lock onto Zari like a missile finding its target. Linton follows his partner's gaze. They cross the restaurant in long strides. Past the bar. Past the tables. past every other family with kids who they don't even glance at, straight to the window booth. Cairo feels it before they arrive, feels the shift in air pressure, feels the eyes of everyone in the bar suddenly focused on one spot, feels his daughter's humming stop mid-note as she senses something wrong. Hargrove stops at the edge of the table, doesn't say hello, doesn't ask if there's a problem, just stands there with his thumbs hooked in his belt and his face already set in that expression cops where when they've decided someone's guilty. Where's your parent? The question isn't directed at Cairo. It's directed at Zari. She looks up from her drawing, crayon still in hand, confused. Where's your parent? Hargrove repeats, louder now. Cairo opens his mouth, but Linton steps closer, cutting off his line of sight to his daughter. You hear the officer talking to you, little girl? And just like that, every ounce of peace in the room evaporates. Every normal moment Cairo tried to build for his daughter crumbles. Every promise he made about safety and dignity gets tested in real time. Zari's eyes find her father's over Linton's shoulder. And Cairo Beaumont, Deputy Director of the Federal Oversight and Civil Rights Bureau, father of one, widower, keeper of promises, makes a choice. He stays calm. He stays quiet. And he waits to see exactly how far these men will go. Because sometimes the best way to catch someone breaking the rules is to let them think they've already won. The finger jabs towards Zari's face again. I asked you a question. Hargrove's voice cuts through the restaurant chatter. Tables nearby go silent. Forks pause midair. The basketball game on TV keeps playing, but nobody's watching anymore. Cairo stands. Slow. Controlled. Every movement deliberate. She's with me. I'm her father. Hargrove doesn't turn. Doesn't acknowledge. Just keeps his eyes locked on the 8-year-old girl in the yellow dress like she's the criminal here. This is a bar. Kids aren't allowed. You need to leave. Zari's small voice cuts through. Clear. Steady. Exactly how her father taught her. I'm not doing anything wrong. The air changes. You can feel it. The way a room holds its breath before something breaks. Hargrove's face flushes deeper red. His jaw clenches. Linton steps closer, boxing Zari in from the other side. You got a mouth on you, don't you? Hargrove leans down, way down, until he's inches from her face, until his breath probably smells like coffee and anger. You talking back to a police officer? Cairo moves between them. Not aggressive. Just there. Just occupying space that should have never been invaded in the first place. Officers, there are families with children eating right now. He gestures to the tables around them. A couple with 2 kids. A grandmother with her grandson. A family of 4 near the stage. Posted hours say families are welcome until 8 p.m. We're just here for dinner. I don't care what the sign says. Linton's voice comes sharp. We're telling you to leave. Phones appear. 1, 2, 5, 10. People aren't even hiding it anymore. Arms raised. Cameras pointed. Recording everything. The modern-day witness stand where everyone gets to be judge and jury and evidence collector all at once. At the bar, a man mutters to his friend, "This is crazy, man." Near the pool tables, a woman shakes her head. They're really doing this? But nobody moves. Nobody intervenes. They just watch. Just record. Just bear witness while staying safely out of the blast radius. Hargrove straightens up. Fixes his attention on Cairo now. Really looks at him for the first time. Takes in the expensive suit. The calm expression. The way this man isn't backing down or getting loud or giving him any excuse to escalate further. It seems to make him angrier. You got a problem with law enforcement? I have a problem with my daughter being targeted for existing. Targeted? Hargrove laughs. Short. Mean. You're the one bringing a kid into a bar. It's a restaurant that serves families. Your own department probably eats here with their kids. Don't tell me about my department. Zari hasn't moved. She's still in the booth, arms wrapped around herself now. Eyes starting to shine with tears she's fighting not to let fall. The crayons sit abandoned on the table. The drawing of the house with the big sun looks childish suddenly. Innocent. A reminder that this is just a little girl who wanted popcorn chicken. Donna, the server, appears at the edge of the scene, holding their food. She looks at the officers. Looks at Cairo. Looks at Zari. Her face says she knows this is wrong, but her feet stay planted because challenging cops doesn't end well for people who need their jobs. Should I? She trails off. Don't serve them, Linton snaps. They're leaving. Cairo's hands curl at his sides. Not fists. Something tighter. Something that takes more control to maintain than throwing a punch would. He's counting again. Counting breaths. Counting witnesses. Counting the seconds until this becomes something he can't walk away from. Officers. His voice drops lower. Quieter. The kind of quiet that makes smart people pay attention. You're creating a situation that doesn't need to exist. We'll finish our meal and leave peacefully. There's no reason. Shut your mouth. Hargrove steps forward. Close enough that Cairo can see the broken blood vessels in his eyes. Close enough to be a physical threat. You don't tell me what's reasonable. You don't tell me anything. The crowd presses in. More phones. More witnesses. Someone whispers "World Star" like this is entertainment. Like this is content. Like they're not watching a child get humiliated in real time by men with badges and guns and the system backing their every move. Zari's bottom lip trembles. She bites it. Hard. The way kids do when they're trying so hard to be brave that it hurts. Her small fingers grip the edge of the table. Yellow fabric bunches around her knees. Cairo sees it. Sees his daughter shrinking. Sees the light dimming. Sees the exact moment when the world teaches her that being right doesn't matter if you're the wrong color in the wrong place. And something in him goes very, very still. Not calm. Past calm. Into that space where anger becomes something colder. Something patient. Something that knows how to wait. Zari. His voice stays gentle. Come here, baby. She slides out of the booth. Moves to her father's side. He puts his hand on her shoulder. Protective. Grounding. Marla Rowan emerges from the back office. Finally. The owner who should have been here 5 minutes ago. She's 50-something. Gray streaks and brown hair. Glasses on a chain. She looks at the scene. At the officers. At the family. At the crowd recording. Her face does calculations. Quick math about liability and lawsuits and bad publicity versus the cost of telling cops they're wrong. Fear wins. It always does in moments like this. I think. She won't meet Cairo's eyes. I think it would be best if you folks left. I'm sorry. I can't have this kind of disruption. The words land like a slap. Not because they're loud. Because everyone knows what they really mean. They mean I'm choosing their comfort over your rights. They mean your money isn't worth the trouble you bring. They mean please just go away and let me pretend this never happened. Zari looks up at her father. Eyes wide. Confused. Hurting. Daddy. That one word. That single question. It contains everything. Why are they treating us like this? Why isn't anyone helping? Why do we have to leave when we didn't do anything wrong? Why does the world work this way? Cairo kneels down. Eye level with his daughter. Right there in front of everyone. In front of the officers. In front of the cameras. In front of Marla Rowan and her cowardice and the whole restaurant full of people who chose comfort over courage. He touches her chin. Lifts her face. We're going to step outside for a minute, okay? But we didn't do anything wrong. I know, sunshine. I know. Then why? Sometimes people make wrong choices. That doesn't mean we did anything wrong. You understand? She nods. Barely. Cairo stands. Takes her hand. Looks at Hargrove. At Linton. Memorizes their faces. Their badge numbers. Everything. We're leaving. Hargrove smirks. Smart move. They walk toward the exit. Every eye in the place follows them. The little girl in the yellow dress and the quiet man in the navy suit. Walking out of a restaurant they had every right to be in. Walking away from a meal they'd ordered. Walking into the cooling evening while injustice celebrates its victory. The door closes behind them. Inside, Hargrove laughs. Claps Linton on the back. See? That's how you handle it. The crowd slowly returns to normal. Conversations resume. Pool games restart. Forks scrape plates. Life goes on because life always goes on for people who aren't the ones being hurt. But outside, something different is happening. Something these officers don't know about. Something that's about to change everything. What happened next became the story nobody saw coming. Stay with us. The evening air tastes like exhaust and disappointment. Cairo guides Zari to the wooden bench near the parking lot entrance. The same bench where employees probably take smoke breaks. Where delivery drivers probably wait for orders. where life happens in small, forgettable moments. Tonight it becomes something else. Zari sits. Her yellow dress spreads around her like wilted petals. She doesn't cry, doesn't speak, just stares at her hands folded in her lap. Processing. 8 years old and trying to make sense of why grown men with power chose to use it against her. Cairo sits beside her, close but not hovering, present but giving her space to feel what she needs to feel. Daddy, her voice comes small. Yes, sunshine. Did I talk back? Was I rude? The question breaks something. Not loudly, quietly, the way glass cracks under pressure before it shatters. No, baby, you were perfect. You were respectful and calm and everything I taught you to be. Then why did they? Because they were wrong. Not you. Them. She thinks about this. Her feet swing slowly. Back and forth. Back and forth. The rhythm of a child trying to self-soothe. Ms. Lorraine said this town doesn't like people like us. Cairo closes his eyes briefly. Of course, Zari heard that. Kids hear everything. File it away. Pull it out when the world proves the adults right. Some people in some places don't. That's true. Why? Because they're afraid. Of what? Of change. Of people who remind them the world doesn't belong just to them. Zari goes quiet again. Inside the restaurant, life continues. Laughter floats through the walls. Music plays. The officers are probably still telling their story. Probably adding details. Probably making themselves heroes. Cairo pulls out his phone. Doesn't scroll. Doesn't check social media. Just opens his contacts. Finds one name. One number he's never had to use for personal reasons before. His thumb hovers over the call button. He could let this go. Could pack up. Could move again. Could teach Zari that running is sometimes the smart choice. Could protect her from the fight by avoiding the fight altogether. Or he could do what he was hired to do. What he spent years doing for other families. What he promised himself he'd always do. Hold the line when others can't. He presses call. 3 rings. Federal Oversight Emergency Line. This is Charlize Vaughn. It's Cairo. I need a team at Red Harbor Bar and Grill, Oak Ridge Hollow. 2 officers. Harassment of a minor. Multiple witnesses recording. I'm the complainant. Silence on the other end. Brief. Loaded with understanding. Cairo, are you? My daughter. They targeted my daughter. Another pause. Shorter this time. Address. He gives it. Timeline. Now. I want them processed tonight. Sending 4 units. Federal Authority. ETA, 15 minutes. Thank you, Charlize. Cairo, make sure you're recording too. He hangs up. Looks at Zari. She's watching him now. Questions in her eyes, but also something else. Something like hope. What did you do? I call my job. Will they help? They're coming. She doesn't understand. Not fully. Doesn't know what it means when federal oversight shows up. Doesn't know her father's title carries weight that local badges can't ignore. Doesn't know that the quiet man in the Navy suit just activated a response that will make local news by morning. She just knows Daddy made a call, and Daddy says help is coming. Inside, Marla Rowan locks her office door, sits at her desk, puts her head in her hands. She knows what she did, knows she chose wrong, knows that security footage will show everything, knows her cowardice just got recorded by a dozen phones and uploaded to the internet, knows she'll have to look at herself in a mirror tomorrow and every day after. At the bar, Hargrove orders another beer, celebrates, tells the story again to another listener. How he handled the situation. How you have to be firm with people who don't respect authority. How the father backed down once he realized who was in charge. Linton scrolls his phone, sees the videos starting to populate, sees the comments rolling in. Angry comments, supportive comments, the usual internet chaos that follows any police interaction these days. He shows Hargrove. We're already online. Hargrove shrugs. So, we didn't do anything wrong. Kid shouldn't have been in a bar. It's a restaurant until 8. Don't matter. We have discretion. They clink bottles. Toast themselves. Toast their authority. Toast the system that protects them from consequences. They have no idea. No idea that the discretion they're celebrating just became evidence. No idea that the father they dismissed runs the department that reviews excessive force complaints. No idea that their jurisdiction failed its last federal audit. No idea that they're already on a watch list. No idea that every action tonight will be examined by people who don't care about local politics or union protection or the blue wall. No idea that the storm is already here. Outside, Cairo checks his watch. 12 minutes since the call. 3 minutes left. He turns to Zari, takes both her hands in his. Baby, I need you to listen to me. She nods. Some people are going to arrive soon. They work with me. They're going to ask those officers questions. They're going to document what happened. It might seem scary, but I promise you're safe. Are you in trouble? No, sunshine. They are. Her eyes widen slightly. The police. Yes. But police don't get in trouble. Cairo's jaw tightens. She's 8. She already knows the world works upside down. Already knows that badges mean protection for some people and threat for others. Already knows more than she should have to know. Sometimes they do, he says quietly. When someone makes sure they do. A rumble sounds in the distance. Low, deep, multiple engines running in formation. Zari hears it. What's that? Cairo stands, straightens his jacket, looks toward the street where headlights are appearing. 4 sets, black SUVs, government plates, moving with purpose. That's what happens when someone finally says enough. The next 60 seconds changed everything. You won't believe what happened inside that bar. The SUVs pull into the parking lot like sharks circling prey. 4 vehicles. Black paint so polished it looks wet under the streetlights. No sirens. No flashing lights. Just quiet, controlled arrival. The kind that says we don't need to announce ourselves because everyone will know exactly who we are. They park in formation. Doors open simultaneously. 12 people emerge. Dark suits. Federal badges on chains around necks. Body cameras already recording. Faces professionally blank in that way government agents. Perfect. No emotion, just procedure. Charlize Vaughn steps out of the lead vehicle. 40-something. Black woman. Natural hair pulled back. She's been doing this work for 15 years, and her face shows none of it. Smooth. Composed. Dangerous in her competence. She walks directly to Cairo. Doesn't hug him. Doesn't show familiarity. This is professional now. On record. Deputy Director Beaumont. Charlize. Fill me in. Exact timeline. Cairo lays it out. Calm. Clinical. Every detail. The entry. The wait. The officer's approach. The targeting. The aggression. The owner's complicity. Every word chosen carefully because this is now official testimony. Zari watches from a bench. Eyes wide. Taking in the SUVs. The agents. The way her father transforms from daddy into something else. Someone else. Someone with authority that makes other adults stand straighter. Charlize listens. Takes notes on a tablet. Her expression never changes, but her fingers move faster when Cairo describes Hargrove leaning into Zari's face. Witnesses, at least 15 inside. Most recorded on phones. Security cameras should have everything. The owner asked us to leave. On camera, Charlize's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. Understood. Officers still inside. Yes. Hargrove and Linton. She turns to her team. Standard protocol. Body cameras active. Deacon, Ramirez, secure the exits. Chun, Portman, interview witnesses. Madison, Robertson, obtain security footage. I'll handle the officers. Everyone clear. Nods all around. Let's move. The team flows toward the entrance. Organized. Professional. Intimidating without trying to be. Just competent people doing their job with the weight of federal law behind them. Cairo stays with Zari. Kneels beside the bench. You okay, sunshine? She nods. Doesn't look okay. Looks overwhelmed. Confused. Like her world just got bigger and stranger, and she's not sure what it all means. Who are those people? They work with me. They make sure people follow the rules. Even police. Can they do that? Yes, baby. They can. Inside the restaurant, the energy shifts instantly. The agents enter through the front door. 12 federal officers filing into a small-town bar where the biggest excitement is usually Friday night karaoke. Conversations stop mid-sentence. Pool cues freeze. The basketball game plays to an audience no longer watching. Hargrove notices first. He's at the bar, beer halfway to his mouth. He sees the suits, the badges, the organized formation. His hand stops moving. What the? Charlize Vaughn walks straight to him. Doesn't hesitate. Doesn't ask permission. Just moves into his space the way he moved into Zari's. Officer Hargrove. Officer Linton. I'm Deputy Chief Charlize Vaughn, Federal Oversight and Civil Rights Bureau. You're both being placed on immediate administrative suspension pending investigation into civil rights violations under Section 1983. The bar goes completely silent. Even the music seems to fade. Hargrove's face transitions through confusion to anger to something that might be fear. What? You can't. I can. I am. Your service weapons and badges will be collected now. You'll receive full notification of charges within 24 hours. You have the right to union representation. Do you understand what I've told you? Linton's voice comes out strangled. This is about that kid. This is about civil rights violations against a minor. Multiple witnesses. Video evidence. Failure to uphold professional standards while acting under color of law. Marla Rowan appears from her office. Face pale. She looks at the agents. At the cameras. At her bar full of witnesses who are now watching her establishment become a federal investigation scene. I didn't know. Charlize turns to her. You're not under investigation at this time, Ms. Rowan. But we will need your security footage and a statement. Of course. Yes. Whatever you need. The agents move with precision. One takes Hargrove's badge. Another documents his weapon serial number. A third reads him his rights under federal employment law. Every action recorded. Every word documented. The crowd watches. Phone still up. Still recording. But the energy has shifted completely. This isn't entertainment anymore. This is accountability. This is what happens when the system actually works. Hargrove's face darkens. Red turning purple. Veins visible in his neck. Do you know who we are? Do you know how long I've been on this force? 17 years. Charlize doesn't even glance at notes. She knows. 12 complaints. For sustained. 3 settled quietly. 0 accountability. That ends today. Lennon looks like he might be sick. This will ruin our careers. You ruined your careers when you targeted a child in front of witnesses. Charlize's voice stays level. Professional. But something underneath cuts like a blade. Officers Chun and Portman will escort you outside. You'll be processed at the federal building downtown. Your department has been notified. Outside, Cairo stands. He can hear it all through the open door. Here's the professional language. The steady voices. The sound of process happening exactly as it should. Zari stands too. Takes his hand. Daddy? Are they arresting the police? Not arresting. Suspending. Taking away their power to hurt people. Because of me? Because of what they did to you. There's a difference. She thinks about this. Will they be in trouble? Yes, sunshine. They will. Good. Her voice comes out small but firm. Righteous in the way only children can be righteous. Pure, uncomplicated, certain that wrong should be punished and right should win. Cairo squeezes her hand. Good. The door opens. Hargrove and Linton emerge, flanked by agents. Their faces carry shock, anger, disbelief. They're trying to walk with dignity, but everything about them screams humiliation. They see Cairo standing there. See the little girl in the yellow dress. See the quiet man who didn't raise his voice or make threats or do anything except call the one number that mattered. Understanding dawns. Slowly. Terribly. You. Hargrove's voice shakes. You're. Cairo doesn't smile. Doesn't gloat. Just stands there. Just exists. Just lets them realize exactly who they targeted. Exactly whose daughter they threatened. Exactly how badly they miscalculated. Deputy Director Cairo Beaumont. Federal Oversight and Civil Rights Bureau. His voice stays quiet. Controlled. You targeted my daughter. In front of witnesses. While under federal review for similar complaints. I'll be overseeing your case personally. The agents lead them away. Toward separate vehicles. Toward downtown. Toward the end of careers built on unchecked authority and protected misconduct. The crowd inside presses against the windows. Watching. Recording. understanding that they just witnessed something rare, something important, something that usually doesn't happen. Justice. Not loud justice. Not dramatic justice with speeches and declarations. Just quiet, competent, inevitable justice. Charlize approaches Cairo, speaks low enough that only he hears. You good? Yeah. Your daughter? He looks down at Zari. She's watching the SUVs drive away, her small face trying to process everything. She will be. Charlize nods. Preliminary interviews done. We'll need your full statement tomorrow. Security footage is being transferred now. Witness statements are being collected. This one's airtight, Cairo. Thank you. Don't thank me. This is the job. She pauses. But I'm sorry it was your kid. Me too. She walks back to her team. Coordinates. Directs. Manages the scene with the same efficiency she brought to the arrival. Cairo lifts Zari into his arms. She's getting too big for this, but tonight she lets him. Tonight she needs to be small and held and reminded that someone has the power to protect her. Can we go home now, Daddy? Yes, sunshine. We can go home. He carries her to their car, buckles her in, drives away from Red Harbor Bar and Grill while federal agents continue documenting everything inside. Zari falls asleep before they reach their street. Exhausted, overwhelmed, processing trauma in the way children do, by shutting down until they feel safe enough to feel. Cairo drives carefully, slowly, watching his daughter in the rearview mirror, promising silently that he'll spend the rest of his life making sure she knows her worth, making sure she understands that the world was wrong tonight. Not her. Never her. When they pull into the driveway, Ms. Lorraine is on her porch. She watches Cairo carry Zari inside, watches him move like a man who's just fought a battle and won, but feels no joy in winning. She nods. Just once. He nods back. Then he takes his daughter inside, tucks her into bed with her stuffed animals, and sits on the floor of her room until his breathing steadies and his hands stop shaking. Because courage doesn't mean you don't break. It means you wait until your daughter is safe before you let yourself feel what just happened. But the story doesn't end there. What happened next became a lesson the whole town would never forget. The news breaks before sunrise. Federal agents suspend 2 local officers after civil rights complaint scrolls across phone screens while people drink their morning coffee. The videos from last night have been shared thousands of times. Tens of thousands. Comment sections explode with opinions. Some support the officers. Most don't. The footage doesn't lie. 2 grown men targeting a child while her father stayed calm and asked for nothing except to eat dinner in peace. By 7 a.m., the local news vans arrive at Red Harbor Bar. By 8, they're parked outside the police station. By 9, the mayor issues a statement about taking all complaints seriously and supporting federal investigations. By 10, Cairo gets a call from the superintendent asking if Zari is okay and if there's anything the school can do. By noon, 3 neighbors bring food to their house. Ms. Lorraine brings sweet potato pie. The couple from across the street brings flowers. Even Patricia Huang stops by with an apology disguised as concern. I had no idea you worked in federal oversight, she says. Means I had no idea you had power. Means I would have been nicer if I'd known you mattered. Cairo accepts the casserole but doesn't invite her inside. Zari stays home from school. Not because she's scared. Because Cairo wants one more day to let her process before sending her back into the world. They make pancakes together. Watch movies. Build a blanket fort in the living room. Normal. Intentionally normal. But around 2 p.m., Cairo's phone rings. The number makes his stomach tighten. This is Beaumont, Deputy Director. This is Chief Ramirez from Oak Ridge PD. I need to speak with you. In person if possible. Cairo considers. My house. 1 hour. Thank you, sir. Chief Ramirez arrives exactly 60 minutes later. 50-something. Hispanic. Uniform pressed sharp. He looks tired. The kind of tired that comes from managing a department where 2 of his officers just became federal cases. Cairo meets him on the porch. Doesn't invite him in. Doesn't offer coffee. Just stands there and waits. Deputy Director, I want to apologize. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to my daughter. Ramirez swallows. Yes, sir. Is she available? No. She's inside having a childhood. Something your officers try to steal from her. The words land heavy. Ramirez looks down, nods. You're right. What happened was inexcusable. Both officers have been suspended without pay pending your investigation. Their union reps are already asking for meetings, but I've told them this one goes federal regardless. Good. I reviewed their files this morning. Hargrove has 12 complaints. Linton has 7. Most were buried. Settled quietly. The usual pattern. He pauses. I should have caught it sooner. You should have. But you didn't because the system protects officers by default. That's what I'm here to change. Ramirez meets his eyes. I want to help. Whatever you need. Access to personnel files. Internal communications. Everything. I don't want officers like that representing my department. Cairo studies him. Tries to gauge sincerity versus self-preservation. Probably both. That's how it usually works. People do the right thing when the alternative costs too much. Send everything to Charlize Vaughn by end of business tomorrow. Full cooperation. No redactions. Done. And Chief, if I find out you knew about this pattern and did nothing, your career ends too. Federal charges for willful negligence. Do you understand? Completely, sir. Ramirez leaves. Cairo watches him drive away. Feels no satisfaction. No victory. Just tired. Just ready for this to be over so Zari can go back to being a kid who draws houses with big suns instead of a symbol for everything wrong with the system. Inside, Zari is coloring. Still the same picture. Still the house. Still the flowers. But she's added something new, a row of people standing in front. Holding hands. All different colors. Who are they, sunshine? The people who helped us. The people who didn't just watch. Cairo sits beside her. Picks up a crayon, adds a sun bigger than before. That evening, the federal investigation officially opens. Notices delivered. Evidence cataloged. Witnesses contacted. The machinery of oversight grinding forward with Cairo at the helm. Impartial, thorough, relentless. By week's end, the findings are preliminary but damning. Pattern of racial profiling. History of excessive force. Multiple settlements. Department failure to discipline. Everything documented. Everything provable. Hargrove and Linton's careers are over. Not maybe. Not probably. Over. Federal civil rights violations don't disappear. Don't get swept away. Don't get protected by union contracts or local politics. They broke the law. They got caught. They face consequences. Radical concept in American policing. But accurate. 3 weeks later, Zari returns to the bar. Her choice. Her idea. I want to go back, Daddy. I want them to see I'm not scared. Cairo almost says no. Almost decides they'll just avoid the place forever. Find somewhere else. Somewhere safer. But then he remembers his promise. That the world won't take anything from them. Not peace. Not dignity. Not the right to exist in public spaces without fear. So they go. Saturday afternoon. Same time as before. The place is quieter now. Fewer customers. The federal investigation scared people away. Bad publicity tends to do that. Marla Rowan sees them enter. Her face goes pale. She walks over immediately. Hands shaking. Mr. Beaumont. Zari. I'm so sorry. I should have protected you. Should have stood up. Should have done what was right instead of what was easy. Her eyes shine. Real tears. Real regret. I failed you both. Cairo lets the silence sit. Lets her feel it. Then speaks. You did. But you can do better next time. For the next family. For the next kid who shouldn't have to prove they belong. I will. I promise I will. They sit at the same booth. Order the same food. Zari gets her popcorn chicken. Cairo gets his wings. They eat slowly. Peacefully. Claiming back the space that should have been theirs all along. Other customers watch. Recognize them from the news. From the videos. Some smile. Some nod. Some look away uncomfortable because being confronted with your own silence is harder than pretending nothing happened. A young black couple enters with their son. Maybe 6 years old. They see Cairo and Zari. See what that booth represents. The mother's eyes tear up. She walks over. Speaks quietly. Thank you. For not letting it go. For showing my son that we matter. Cairo nods. We all matter. Every single one of us. They finish their meal. Leave a generous tip for Donna, who served them with dignity when it mattered. Walk out into the evening air that smells less like disappointment now. On the drive home, Zari speaks. Daddy, when I grow up, I want to do what you do. What's that, sunshine? Make sure people are safe. Make sure people are treated right. Make sure nobody gets away with being mean just because they have power. Cairo's throat tightens. You'll be amazing at it. Because you taught me. No, baby. Because you were already strong. I just showed you how to use it. She smiles. That sunshine smile that got dimmed but never went out. That light that survived contact with the world's ugliness and chose to shine anyway. That night, Cairo writes his final report. Clinical, detailed, recommending full termination for both officers, recommending department-wide training, recommending federal oversight for the next 18 months, recommending change, real change, structural change, the kind that outlasts any single case or moment or video. He signs the document, sends it up the chain, knows it will be approved because the evidence is overwhelming. Then he closes his laptop, walks to Zari's room, sits on the edge of her bed while she sleeps peacefully, her stuffed animals arranged carefully, her drawing of the house with the big sun taped to the wall where she can see it first thing in the morning. He touches her forehead gently. The world wanted to break you, sunshine, but you wouldn't let it. You stood there with your arms crossed and showed them that dignity isn't something they can take. It's something you choose, and you chose right. She doesn't wake, just shifts slightly, smiles in her sleep. And Cairo Beaumont, deputy director, single father, protector of promises, finally lets himself breathe. Because justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just a little girl in a yellow dress who refused to apologize for existing. Sometimes it's a father who stayed quiet until quiet became powerful. Sometimes it's a system that actually worked because someone made sure it did. And sometimes, just sometimes, the good guys win. Not because they were louder, not because they fought harder, but because they refused to let wrong become normal. They refused to let cruelty go unchecked. They refused to teach the next generation that power without accountability is just how things are. They refused, and that refusal changed everything. The officers never worked in law enforcement again. Cairo and Zari stayed in Oak Ridge Hollow, building a life where they belonged all along. 6 months later, the changes are visible. Oak Ridge Police Department operates under federal consent decree. New training protocols, new accountability measures, body cameras mandatory, complaint procedures transparent. 3 more officers resign rather than adapt. Good riddance. Red Harbor Bar puts up a sign. All families welcome. Discrimination will not be tolerated. Marla Rowan personally ensures every staff member understands. She lost customers over the incident, lost reputation, deserved it, but she's working to rebuild trust one family at a time. The videos from that night become training material. Federal academies use them to teach de-escalation, to show what not to do, to demonstrate how bias manifests in split-second decisions. Zari's calm face, arms crossed, becomes an image that thousands of officers see. A reminder that the person you're confronting is someone's child, someone's whole world. Cairo gets promoted. Assistant deputy director. More responsibility, more cases, more families who need someone to stand between them and a system that wasn't built for their protection. He accepts because the work matters. Because every case is another Zari. Another child who deserves dignity. Zari thrives, returns to school confident, joins debate team, writes an essay about her experience that wins a district-wide competition, speaks at youth town hall about civil rights. 8 years old and already teaching adults what justice looks like. Ms. Lorraine watches from her porch as the neighborhood slowly transforms. More diverse families move in. The measuring stares decrease. The quiet hostility fades. Not everywhere, not completely, but enough to notice, enough to matter. One evening, she invites Cairo and Zari for dinner. Real dinner. Fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens. The kind of meal that says family. You changed this place, she tells Cairo while Zari plays in the yard. I didn't change anything, just held people accountable. Same thing. She pours sweet tea. You know how long I've lived here? 30 years. 32. And in all that time, I learned to stay small. Stay quiet. Don't make waves. Survive by being invisible. She looks out at Zari, who's chasing fireflies. But that baby out there? She didn't learn that. Because you taught her different. Her mother taught her that. I just tried to protect it. You did more than protect it. You showed this whole town that quiet doesn't mean weak. That dignity isn't negotiable. That our children deserve better. Her eyes shine. Thank you for not teaching her to shrink. Cairo nods. Throat tight. Because praise from elders hits different. Because Ms. Lorraine's approval means she sees him. Really sees him. Sees the weight he carries. The promises he keeps. The father he's trying to be. At school, teachers notice the difference. Zari's confidence spreads to other kids. The ones who used to fold themselves small now speak up. Ask questions. Challenge unfairness when they see it. Children teaching children what adults forgot, that everyone deserves respect regardless of who holds the power. The superintendent implements new policies. Cultural competency training. Bias recognition workshops. Student advocacy programs. Changes that should have existed already but needed a catalyst. Needed a little girl in a yellow dress to show them what was at stake. Hargrove and Linton face federal charges. Civil rights violations under color of law. Careers destroyed. Pensions threatened. Reputations ruined. They hire lawyers. File appeals. Claim they were just doing their jobs. The evidence says otherwise. The videos say otherwise. The pattern of complaints says otherwise. They lose. Completely. Permanently. Justice doesn't always work this way. Cairo knows that. Knows most cases end differently. End with officers getting paid leave. End with departments protecting their own. End with families giving up because fighting the system costs more than they can afford. But this case worked. This time, everything aligned. The evidence. The witnesses. The federal authority. The father who happened to be the exact person who could make it matter. Rare. Beautiful. Necessary. One Saturday, Cairo takes Zari back to Red Harbor Bar. Not because they have to, because they want to. Because reclaiming space is how you heal from violation. They sit at their booth, order their food, eat peacefully while life happens around them. Families laughing, kids coloring, music playing. Normal. A police officer enters. Young. New. Cairo tenses instinctively. Zari notices. It's okay, Daddy. Not all of them are bad. She's right. She's 8 and she's right. The officer orders food to go. Nods respectfully at Cairo. Doesn't stare. Doesn't linger. Just exists in the same space without making it about power. Progress looks like this. Small moments. Unremarkable interactions. The absence of threat. Donna brings their check. Leans close. I'm glad you came back. Glad you didn't let them win. They didn't win, Zari says simply. We did. Donna smiles. Real smile. The kind that reaches eyes. Yes, baby. You sure did. On the drive home, Zari asks the question Cairo's been waiting for. Daddy, why did you wait? Why didn't you tell them who you were right away? Cairo considers his answer carefully. This is the teaching moment. The lesson that will shape how his daughter understands power for the rest of her life. Because I wanted them to show who they really were. If I'd used my badge right away, they might have backed off. Been polite. Hidden their real behavior. But they were mean to me. I know, sunshine. And I'm sorry for that. But now there's no question what happened. No way for them to claim they were just doing their jobs. They targeted you not knowing I had any power. Which means they would have done it to any child. Any family. Anyone they thought was powerless. She thinks about this. So you let them be bad so everyone could see? I made sure everyone saw. There's a difference. I didn't let anything happen to you that I couldn't stop. But I let it happen long enough that stopping it meant something. That's smart. That's strategy, baby. Sometimes you have to let people reveal themselves before you can hold them accountable. Like chess. Exactly like chess. They pull into the driveway. Home. Safe. Together. Inside, Cairo makes hot chocolate even though it's not that cold. Because rituals matter. Because normal matters. Because childhood shouldn't be defined by the moment trauma tried to enter. Zari sits at the kitchen table. Draws another picture. This one shows a girl, standing tall, while shadowy figures lean close. But the girl isn't small in the drawing. She's the same size as the adults. Strong, unafraid. That's you, sunshine. That's all of us. Everyone who stands up even when it's scary. Cairo hangs the drawing on the refrigerator, right at eye level where he'll see it every morning. A reminder that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the presence of conviction. That night, tucking Zari into bed, she asks one more question. Daddy, will bad things still happen to us? He could lie, could promise that justice always wins, could pretend the world is fair now that one case went right. But Cairo doesn't lie to his daughter. Probably, baby, the world is still learning, still changing, still fighting against people who want things to stay the same. Then why do we fight so hard? Because every time we fight, we teach the world a little more. Every time we stand up, we make it easier for the next person. Every time we refuse to accept wrong, we make right a little more possible. So we're teaching. She smiles, closes her eyes. I'm a good teacher. The best, sunshine. The very best. Cairo sits with her until she sleeps. Watches her breathe. Peaceful. Safe. Dreaming whatever 8-year-olds dream after they've survived what no child should have to survive. He thinks about the promises he made over Amir's grave. About protection. About dignity. About never letting the world take anything from them again. He kept those promises. Not perfectly. Not without cost. Not without his daughter learning hard truths too early. But he kept them. And tomorrow he'll keep them again. And the day after. And every day until Zari is old enough to keep them for herself. Because that's what fathers do. That's what protectors do. That's what people who refuse to let injustice become normal do. They stand. They wait. They act. They teach. They raise children who know their worth isn't determined by who has the badge or the power or the loudest voice. They raise children who cross their arms and stand firm and refuse to apologize for existing. They raise sunshine. And sometimes, just sometimes, the sunshine is strong enough to burn through the darkness. This story happened because silence became power, because restraint became strategy, because a father refused to teach his daughter that running is the only option. The world will always have people like Hargrove and Linton, people who mistake authority for righteousness, people who use badges as weapons, people who forget that power without accountability is just tyranny with a uniform. But the world also has people like Cairo and Zari, people who stand quietly until standing matters, people who document, who witness, who refuse to let wrong go unchallenged. And when those people exist, when those families fight back, the world changes. One case at a time, one child at a time, one moment of courage at a time. So to everyone watching this story, everyone who's felt powerless, everyone who's been told to stay quiet and accept less, your dignity is not negotiable. Your children's safety is not optional. Your right to exist in peace is not up for debate. And when the world tries to teach you otherwise, remember the little girl in the yellow dress who crossed her arms and refused to shrink. Remember that quiet can be powerful. Remember that patience can be strategic. Remember that justice delayed is not always justice denied. Sometimes it's justice being built correctly so it actually lasts. Stand firm. Document everything. Know your rights. Teach your children their worth. And never, ever let anyone make you believe that staying small keeps you safe. Because the only thing that keeps us safe is making sure that those who abuse power face consequences. The only thing that keeps us safe is refusing to normalize cruelty. The only thing that keeps us safe is standing up, even when our voices shake, even when we're afraid, even when the world tells us to sit down. We stand, and we teach our children to stand. And someday, maybe they won't have to. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that change is possible, if it made you believe that one person can make a difference, subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss another story that inspires. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us about moments when you had to stand firm, when you had to choose between comfort and courage, when you had to teach someone that dignity matters more than peace. Your stories inspire others. Your voices matter. Your experiences become the evidence that change is not just possible, It's inevitable when enough people refuse to accept wrong as normal. We'll see you in the next story. Until then, stand tall, speak clearly, protect fiercely, and remember, the world only changes when we make it.